This is a soccer comic rant, and this podcast is at allthingscomedy.com. If you go to that platform, you'll find a host of comics there discussing things from a comedy point of view. Bill Burr has his podcast there. Bert Kreischer, Bill and Bert have a podcast there themselves. Tom Papa, Tiger Belly, Tom Segura, just keep going. The names in comedy keep going. They're all there. Me and more other people. This podcast can also be found on YouTube at Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards. And if you're listening at Omni or iTunes, and tell some people, like and subscribe, pass it around. Our sponsor is onthevalleyapparel.com. And if you go to onthevalleyapparel.com, they have soccer gear there, hoodies, sweatshirts, tanks, tees. They make them for men and women with hip hop / soccer logos or emblems or designs on the front that look fly. They're collabs. They look great. Use my promo code Comic Grant, get 20% off. And today we got two of the usual suspect, Neil Chakravarty, comic from San Diego by way of India, Chelsea fan. What up, Lee? Neil? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Your thing is freezing again, so we don't know how this is going to work because Neil had some technical difficulties before this.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're like, hopefully, your internet will work better than Chelsea did in the second half in the Champions League game today against Real Madrid. But we also have Mowhaaa, Barcelona fan, but he pays attention, and the comic pays attention to the Premier League, and we got a bunch of things to discuss, so we'll all get to them. And Martin's not here today. Aaron, why do you think Martin's not here today?
Oh, because the Spurs lost?
And we'll discuss that. That's Aaron Brungardt, the show's producer. His theory on why Martin is not with us this episode. So I don't know if you're frozen, Neil, but I want to ask you. Let's talk Champions League first. And Real Madrid plays Chelsea today in Spain, and it's 1-1. Are you happy with the results? But as soon as I finish asking him, Neil disappears from the screen. He's having technical difficulties. So Mowhaaa, what do you think about the Champions League results today?
It was a snooze fest. Both of them played 3-5-2. It was really boring. I mean, Chelsea was doing okay first half. Second half was kind of snooze fest, boring as hell. And Real was hanging on for dear life. Every time somebody got away, they took them out. They all had yellow cards. Marcelo, they were holding up for their life, and it was boring. It got a little exciting when Ziyech came in. I think he should have came in a little bit earlier. Pulisic did have a nice,
Pulisic what?
Pulisic did have a nice goal in the first half, right?
Right.
At the second half was boring. I was like, oh my God, these two teams ain't gonna go far. Whoever's on the...
You said they're not going to go far. They're in the semifinals. Like one of them is going to get to the finals. So what do you mean they're not going to go far? They're further than everybody else.
Okay, let me rephrase. None of them are going to win.
Okay.
Them two ain't going to win.
But it's like why did Real Madrid play that formation? Them and Chelsea played the same formation. So I understand actually Real Madrid being defensive at home, right? And then they didn't even play in the Bernabeu, right?
No, they played in the arena that Real been playing
in. They played in that was a training facility. That wasn't.
Yeah.
And they play where did Real Madrid normally play? The Bernabeu, right? Or is that Barcelona?
Yeah. No, that's Real Madrid. They play at Bernabeu.
That's what I thought. But what was this?
I think it's their practice facility.
Yeah.
It's like a mountain in the back. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. They should have just played all their games there since there's no fans. But I'm sure that took some of the atmosphere out of the game psychologically for the players.
I mean, I've seen a few Real Madrid games because we competed for the first spot, and there's some games that's been exciting there. Not because Real was exciting, but the other teams was exciting. I feel like Chelsea just ran out of steam. They ran out of steam.
You're just shitting on Real because you're a Barcelona fan. So I don't know how honest you're being about how
Wait,
the
go
way
to-
you're describing their play. You know what I mean? You
I
could
mean-
just be. You sound like you're just hating right now.
I mean, you can go check their highlights, the 10-minute highlights, the extended highlights. Real's been really struggling. Now, they're lucky they got Benzema because he scored some amazing goals, and he saves them.
That was an amazing goal.
Yeah, and he's clutch. I mean, without him, they'll be in real trouble. Now, they are pretty good at defending. They defend like a team. They go on counterattacks. They do what they got to do. I'm not mad at what they're doing. It's just not exciting. But Chelsea didn't do better, to be honest.
Yeah, like they definitely played to not lose. They didn't want to give up a lot of points, but I feel like you gotta have a go when you're going to some places but it's ground. They don't have their best players. Like I don't think Varane and Ramos played, right?
Varane played today.
Varane played. I didn't even really kind of see him out there. I didn't even notice. So then you don't. They have a makeshift midfield. They brought Marcelo back, and I don't think he'll be in the second game. And it's like try to score as many goals as possible.
They did. You're right. They played defensive, but you know what disappointed me is when Ziyech came in and they had a momentum. Chelsea last 10 minutes, they all of a sudden went back and played defensive as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why is Chelsea coach holding back? Varane, Marcelo, Nacho, the whole defense had a yellow card for Real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go at them. Ziyech is one of those players that can create change. You know what I mean? And he also went back at defense, which I thought.
And he also seemed to play on the wrong side of the field. Like he's normally on the right. They put him on the left. So then I was like, what's going on here?
And they put Havertz on the right, and I'm like, Havertz wasn't doing nothing. At least tried to do something from the left. Havertz wasn't doing nothing, and I was more disappointed in Tuchel going defensive last 10 minutes when he put on attacking players,
Go ahead.
And I think Real was just struggling at the end, and Chelsea didn't take advantage of that. They got off the brake, they got off the gas, and they were like, let's cruise this. We up 1-1 is good for us, but they could have pushed it. Because I've seen small teams like Getafe push Real to the brink and just go at them. And I feel like Tuchel dropped the ball today.
Yeah, and he might end up paying for that, like, at the home leg with like if Real's players get better and they have more depth, and Hazard like stays fit and by next week he gets some more playing time and some more practice time. It's going to be a tougher team to beat, and one goal kills you, period. So
and I think
I'm going to actually put my bet right now on Real making the final.
Yeah, I want to do that. But you know what? The Real, they had Marcelo back healthy. They had Varane back. They had, Cruz and Modric in midfield. So they did have a better team than they had lately.
They had old Modric, right?
I mean, he's their best midfielder in Cruz.
But
doesn't matter.
I know, but that's not good because Modric is like, I love Modric, but he's basically at the end of his career. So, like, I don't know why. I'm trying to see Varane, for some reason, he doesn't like Bale, which he loaned out and didn't play last year, and now he's off the Isco train. Like players with skill.
But Zidane never liked Isco. First time he came, I don't remember if you remember when he came there. Isco was the start, and he benched him the rest of the year. In his defense, he wanted. But then he never liked Isco.
Right, but he got him back in, and they helped win La Liga a few times and some Champions League titles. And it's like, I don't know what you don't like about someone, but if they've helped you win some shit and done some shit, like, I just don't understand. Maybe
in Zidane, I agree. I think Isco should play, but in Zidane's defense, Modric, Casemiro, and Cruz have also helped him win before.
No, I understand that, but sometimes you could play Isco to rest Modric.
I agree.
Or just as a shot in the arm at the end of the game, if you want to go forward not just this game, but even in the regular league, I just don't really see him playing Isco, even though I don't watch as many Real Madrid games as I used to. It's just weird. Let me just ask Neil. Neil, are you satisfied with the result today?
No, hell no. The result, no, because I mean, I thought we dominated the game for the most part. So to come away from that, these days don't come along often against a team like Real Madrid. So you got to make it count. I think we should have come back with the win today. But you know, it's the same old thing that we actually played. I think today was the kind of game that. This is the kind of game, if we play like this, we stand a chance at like competing for the league and stuff, but not if we finish like this.
Why do you agree with Tuchel's system? Like, he's played the same thing. Real Madrid played very defensive.
Mm-hmm.
They're home. They don't want to give up away goals, but they're also like, it's like you're looking at construction workers fix the holes in a wall. So Zidane's a construction worker and the team is the wall, and it's not finished being painted. It's not dry. The spackling ain't dry. It ain't being painted, and another coat hasn't gone on yet. So why wouldn't you attack that wall more when they're like that? You're in a Spain somewhere at a practice facility, pretending you're at a Champions League stadium, and it's like, why don't you just attack them? Like that, I feel like the squad that's going to come at you next week is going to be stronger, and you guys going to get knocked out.
No, I thought we did. I mean, you have to look at it when you say attacking, right? You have to look at it in the context of how we have been attacking in the past,
and that's the way you've been playing. But
so I think relative to that, I thought today was an attacking game. I know it wasn't like a very free-flowing. A lot of but like there were large parts of the game where we were actually going forward a lot. The lineup looked a little defensive because we had Azpilicueta playing as a wing-back, which he has done only in these two games now versus West Ham on the weekend and today. But
hey, let me ask you something.
Let him finish, and then you can jump in. Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, so I thought relative to what we had been doing this season under Tuchel, I thought we were more attacking. And even at the 70th minute when he made the changes, they were all attacking substitutions because he then actually got back Reece James on as a wing back, Havertz on, and Ziyech on. So, I mean, I didn't really have any problems with the way we were set up or the way we were playing and stuff. We just need to finish. I mean, the kind of chances Werner again missed. Like, just imagine, we could have been 2-0 up within 15 minutes, with two away goals.
Well,
that's your route to the final right there.
Yeah. Like the way you guys came out was to win. And then even though you say you guys put in attacking players like Ziyech, Mowhaaa made the point earlier that, and I've seen coaches do this recently, put in attacking players to play defense. And it's kind of like what Tuchel did. So what's all that about?
Yeah, I feel like I took off at the last 10 minutes, even though Ziyech was kind of active, even though he was on the left side. I feel like the instruction was to go back on defense. I feel like you played the same system in the same exact way Real played last 10 minutes. You be out, live defensive and hoping Ziyech created something.
I think there was a little bit of the whole Hazard factor too. Like when you are on that right wing and you're trying to do stuff and then Hazard comes on, gets on the ball, you automatically, because I've seen that happen to teams against us. That whole right flank automatically, takes a few steps behind. So that's probably what might have happened. But I thought we were going for the win.
So they thought Chelsea Hazard was going to at them. That's Real Madrid Hazard.
He haven't played.
He's only been a Hazard to himself since he's been at Real Madrid. He has not been a problem to anybody else except his own career. So to back off a guy who has no playing time, he's missed more games in 2 years at Real Madrid than he missed at his 8th season at Chelsea. And he's is he 30 now?
He should be close to 30, yeah.
Ian makes a good point. The only thing about Hazard is his name on his back. He haven't played well. And
Mhm.
I'd be shocked if he plays 2 games in a row. And you guys got scared in the last 10 minutes because Hazard came on. He haven't played in months. Yeah. So next
But
game
I mean,
you're
he
gonna play
wasn't
defensive.
really having because you saw the last. I actually saw them play over the weekend, and he was good in that little cameo of 15 minutes. So
Uh-huh.
I think at some point there was a sense that you're okay taking a 1 away goal back to Stamford Bridge, but I felt for the most part. And here's the thing: what are you gonna do even if you get all those things in order? The biggest thing that Tuchel did was he took Werner off, which he should have probably taken much earlier. But he took Werner off and he put on Kai Havertz, who's again not number 9. And there are 2 number 9s sitting on the bench. So I'm really right now trying to even understand whether Tuchel likes the concept of a number 9.
Let me ask you a question.
Defensive.
Let me ask you a question. If you're Tammy Abrams,
Yeah.
what are you thinking right now?
Well, you're speaking to your agent all the time.
Are you trying to get out? Would you want to
he's trying to
lose
get
Tammy Abrams?
I don't want to lose Tammy. I know what's going to happen when we lose Tammy, because unless we find a replacement who's actually a number 9 striker who can last say another 5 to 10 years, what's going to happen is this guy's going to go away, maybe start at someplace like Leicester or West Ham, bag in goals, and in a year or 2 he will be at a club who is our real rival.
Competitor.
Yeah.
Also,
so
you can't get rid of him because you have only Giroud that's old, that's gonna get out. You can't get rid of the only forward that has potential. Unless you buy somebody in the summer.
How
I
many
think we will
goals?
buy somebody, but I don't know. It's
Like
really bizarre.
Tammy Abrams, right? Let me see what he scored last year. How many goals did he score last year?
He scored 15 last year, and he scored 6 this year, and he's played less than half the minutes that he scored the same amount of goals as Werner, having played less than half.
Yeah. You know what I noticed when I was watching the game today? When Rich James came on, you guys have that the thread behind, right? He goes around. So does Chilwell, but nobody ever looks for Chilwell, that lob or that through pass. If you guys play like we play with Alba on the wings, and you would have had, I think, more success. You got to give Chilwell more chances because he goes in the box like Rich James. He just don't get the ball.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bit of a weird structure where we play 5 defensive and 5 attacking, but then it's there's a little bit of a disconnect. So what we've done with Tuchel is we've become a bit more defensive as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a numbers game, right? He's added an extra center back and then added an extra defensive midfielder.
You guys have become Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, then that obviously takes away from the front line. But I don't think that was the problem in a game like today. I thought today we did all that we could to win the game. But I mean, the chance that Werner missed, he missed 2, but one of them was really, really bad.
The header, but is it a miss or a save? You talking about with the one where was it Courtois?
The save, yeah, Courtois.
Yeah.
You have the entire goal. Why are you kicking straight at the keeper? It's a great save. But
can I answer?
I'll call that a miss.
Yeah.
Because I have no confidence.
Yeah.
I haven't scored on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I'm worried that I'll miss this thing. I just want to at least make the goalkeeper make a save and hit it and make contact.
Just scored in the league. Didn't he just score in the league, Werner?
Yeah, and that entire high of him scoring after so long lasted exactly 10 minutes.
Because he missed
an
absolute
sitter.
Yeah, I've never seen someone miss so many sitters.
Yeah, and not score.
Not even not score. Like somebody I've never seen. He's playing he's a Southampton forward before Ings. Before Ings and those guys started lighting up. What's the other Southampton forward that doesn't play?
Well, I will say this though: Southampton forwards wouldn't have this ratio of missing the goal scored to miss chances.
I think we've been.
This is pretty unique.
I think we've been unfair to Werner. Without him, you would have no opportunities. He creates a lot. He's good, man.
I know, but we're talking about misses now. You know what I mean?
He's not going to be Harry Kane over one season. Maybe in 2 years.
But that's the thing, the standard is not even Harry Kane. I was actually looking, the historical flops that Chelsea have had at striker, right? Fernando Torres,
Falcao.
Shevchenko. Well, Falcao was like less than half a season, so
Okay.
but like Shevchenko, Higuain,
Torres.
Morata, yeah. I actually went and looked up the numbers of these guys. They average a goal across Premier League and Champions League every around, 200 to 300 minutes, and that was considered a flop. Werner is averaging around 550 minutes. That is like he is 2 times worse than any of these flops.
But he also has been here for less than a season. I think in the long run he's gonna fix that.
We lost patience with Morata after a season and a half. Sometimes that's the way to go. You cut your losses.
Yeah.
So I don't think he has a lot more time either.
You lost
So you think-
patience with Mo Salah, and look at him now.
Oh, that was
Well,
Mourinho's fault.
Salah, at
That was
least- at
Mourinho.
least- Yeah, I mean Salah and all never really got a chance. I'm
Yeah,
talking
Mourinho
about people
fault.
like he's getting chances. So
Yeah.
uh,
Mourinho messed up Salah. He didn't play him as much.
Yeah.
And he got rid of him.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think are your chances going into this the rematch?
Well, the good thing is that, so on the positive side, we had a lot of good performance. Like the way Pulisic and Mount played in those 2 10s, I thought was really good. And that if he can like somehow get that finishing, I think that really, we showed to Real Madrid today that, you're in for a proper tie. Like this is a proper Champions
It was
League.
always going to be a proper tie. What do you mean you showed them?
No, I was not really confident of how this team is
You're
gonna
never
be.
confident.
Well, now I am.
Well, you thought the way Real been playing last few months, they were gonna dominate you? You really thought Real was gonna beat you?
Well, it's not about dominating us, but like I know some of their players that can stand up. Like they showed it against Liverpool, right? And they showed it in the El Clasico versus Barcelona. It's not even just been a couple of weeks, right? So
Give that
Champions
credit
League
to Courtois.
semifinals, these guys turn up. And actually one of them is the reason why it's still 1-1. What Benzema did on that, I don't know many players in the world who can do that kind of a finish. So
I told Ian that earlier. I was like, if Benzema's not there, they'll be in the middle of the table. He scores unbelievable goals to win.
You say that like he's not supposed to be on the team. They bought him years ago. He plays for the team. It's not hold on, Mowhaaa. You gotta let people finish. You buy players to do things like that, and they spent that much money back then for him to do shit like this. It's not like some accident that he's on the team and he's got like Champions Leagues and leagues. Like, what do you mean? They've been
Let me explain.
Where would Barcelona be if Messi wasn't on the team? Like, how are people making these type of arguments?
Okay, let me explain. I'm not saying he's not supposed to score goals, but he's not scoring average goals. Let's be honest. He scores unbelievable goals. Now, does he have potential to do that? Yes, he does.
They didn't pay average money for him.
I mean, it was pretty average compared to everybody that can.
They paid for those goals.
Yeah, they didn't pay that much compared to all the other guys that came after him.
I wish we could pay for some goals.
You're talking about now. I feel like, listen, I got some bad news and good news for you, Neil. You're out after the semifinal. But next season,
After the semifinal?
Yeah.
Oh,
Real Madrid's gonna knock you out. And but next season you have your coach, you have your system for him to implement. You hopefully Werner can get better to be a finisher, or they're just gonna have to be like, it's fucked up what they're doing to Tammy.
But here's the thing: why do you think they're gonna? Because our task in the next game, in the second leg, is to not concede. If you don't concede, we go through. So
yeah, I think they're gonna win.
Let him finish.
Today, Real Madrid really had zero chances. They had that goal was a wonder goal. Apart from that, they had no shots on target. They had no real chances.
Well,
if we can put in a similar defensive performance, I think we can, have a clean sheet, and that's it. That's all you need. A 0-0 draw, we can go ahead. I'm not confident of us scoring goals, but a 0-0 draw, we go ahead.
Neil, you sound like Tunchel. You're more worried about defending and surviving. And I think if you guys go all out, you will beat them because they're gonna have some of the defenders suspended next game.
Okay, so
And-
what's gonna
and-
happen
and-
if we
no,
go
let me
all
finish.
out
No,
and
not
Werner misses
all
4
out.
chances
No,
as
not
opposed to
all
1?
out. I don't mean all out like don't worry about defense. I mean like you played the first half, you know,
Yeah,
attack,
yeah,
defend, you know what I mean? Like it's smart.
yeah, yeah.
Don't
yeah.
play like you played last 10 minutes. You just sounded like usually like let's just let them
Yeah,
score. Let's not.
But I mean,
You know what I mean?
10 minutes is different.
I just
Right. I think
I-
you're gonna win, but you're not gonna win the Champions League because whoever's on the other side is gonna beat both of you guys.
yeah, listen, man. Listen, man. You're not going anywhere this season with the German Mourinho, okay? And your defensive system all set up to defend. If you come out the next game, and you don't, it's going to be tough just to defend a 1-1 result against Real
Actually,
Madrid.
that might be a blessing in
at home.
disguise because
I think
that
it's.
might be
I
a
think
blessing
it's.
in
I don't
disguise.
think it's a blessing in disguise.
No, because we will. If it was 1-0, then we would have been defending from the kickoff. But because it's 1-1, there's still it's not that much of a done deal that you have to defend. So I think we will be just play like today. Just play like today and hope you have better luck. That's it.
I think Real Madrid will be better next game. So if you play like today, you're in danger. You have to play way better than today. You have to put those chances away. But
I don't think chances away. Yes, but I don't think in terms of the way we can play. I don't think we can play any better than today. I think this is the ceiling of this team right now.
I think if Reece James played instead of Asaprota, you would have played better offensively. Maybe created more chances.
Yeah,
I think you can play better offensively.
we're splitting hairs here. I mean,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see next week when I'm right. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
So let's since we're on the topic of Chelsea, how you feel about your win versus West Ham, which you got fucking lucky. So that's the thing. Like you beat West Ham 1-0, and they have a man sent off. That I think that red card was rescinded today.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have been sent off. And then you barely beat West Ham. You tie a game you could have won.
Yeah.
You guys are like
We're scraping
the bottom. And you know what? I have to apologize to you for why you look always so worried and negative. Like, you know what? You should be.
Yeah, because like when a game is so tight, it can easily go the other way too. So that's why I'm always a little worried with the way things are with this team. But I thought West Ham game also, like, things were under control. I don't really think things would have changed a lot if that guy was. That wasn't a red card. I don't know why they gave him a red card, but I don't think it would have mattered a lot. But yeah, we need to put our chances away. Like Werner, he again was having a horrible game, but then he got the goal. And this is the weirdest thing about Timo Werner. There have been moments in this season where we've thought, okay, now, you know what? He gets a really scrappy goal. Like it hits his arm and goes in. Like, okay, fine. You know, he's a striker. He's got a goal. This should give him some confidence. But then nothing really changes. He keeps missing after that. So,
but you know,
well,
I feel like
he's evolved in his missing. First, he would miss period, right? First, he would just miss period and score no goals. Then, now he's scoring and then missing even better chances to score. So he's just getting better at missing. Go ahead, Moa.
Yeah, I was gonna say about that red card, Valbuena got. If he got a red card, literally a few minutes later, the forward Bowen, he did the same exact thing on the same player, and he didn't get nothing. like how is that no card at all?
How are you a ref and not understand physics or forward momentum of two players going towards each other, intention, looking at it on the monitor?
Exactly. It's not even in real time. You had a chance to look at it. That's pretty damning when you have to overturn a decision that is made by VAR.
Yeah, I love Moy's reaction though after the game. He said, if you call that a red card, you have never played this game. You shouldn't be a referee.
If you call that a red card, you've never ref this game. So I don't know how this guy got this game in the first place. All right, so let's go to Martin's not here. but I want to talk about Spurs and the FA Cup. It wasn't the FA Cup, it was the League Cup final versus Man City, and Man City beat them. And so we didn't get a chance last week because we talked about the Super League, about the firing of Mourinho.
Yeah.
But like, why do you think Spurs fired Mourinho a week before the League Cup?
So this is completely unverified, obviously, but
Mhm.
I've heard that there's something in there was something in the contract that had, and it's not that uncommon, right? You have stipulations on where the team is at that point.
Mhm.
So the termination fee, which is a big number for Jose Mourinho, I think it's the largest in the history of managers.
Mhm.
It was a different transfer fee if they were in the top four. It's a different transfer fee if they're in the top six. He got fired. Levy fired him when they dropped out of the top six. So I think he just wanted to save a few bucks.
But
Yeah.
so here's a sorry, Moore. I was gonna let you go next. So I just want to say this. So, but I heard that. But I also heard that Mourinho wanted to field a weaker team on the week to play. Who did Spurs play before this game?
I'm not
Whoever it
sure.
was, Mourinho wanted
Aston
to like
Villa. No.
yeah. So I can't remember who it was, but Mourinho wanted to field a weaker team so that he could save his players for the League Cup. And that was the last straw I heard. That was the last argument because Levy wanted him to get into the top four. So he wanted him to compete for both games. And when that was the case, then he got fired, which is counter or the opposite of what you're saying. So why fire the guy for doing what you... So it doesn't make sense. But I feel like maybe they just fired it. And it's like, the guy can win at one game.
Yeah.
You haven't won a title since 61. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Because you could fire him if he wins the cup and he's still not in the thing.
I think the whole season became so screwed up for them. Like it became so muddled. I think it took the joy out of even winning that trophy after so many goddamn years. Like it was almost like you don't want to go on it's a great trip. You don't want to go on that great trip with this toxic guy. Even if you're told you're gonna have the time of your life.
It's like not wanting to go on a honeymoon with your husband. Like,
But I feel like Mourinho, first of all, was a mistake to hire and get rid of Pochettino. Number one, I knew that was going to end up in chaos.
let me ask you a question more. Did you think that in the beginning, or did you say, "Oh, this is perfect"?
I did, because I remember when he did it, when he came back to Chelsea and when he went to Man U, how he was playing the kind of football we talk about that's old school. It was working maybe 10 years ago, defensive and counter, and he always demands a lot of money to buy good players.
Tuchel ball.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that's not going to work in nowadays football. Teams are
right. It's not. It's not. You're right.
And that's why I knew he can't coach the top 10 teams. He can't coach the top 4 teams. You know what I mean? And that's why I was like, it was a mistake. But also, I was like, he has a great team, and he did buy a couple of talented players. But I'm not surprised it ended the way it ended. Now, if they got rid of him early before he got the top 6, great. If they got rid of him because he was doing that weak team, great, because they knew they're going to get rid of him anyway. Why give him? Because Mourinho would have been like, I want a title for you guys for the first time. You know, if he was in the final.
But he won't be the first guy to get fired after winning a title. Like if Spurs wants to be a big team, you fire a manager after they win your title. That's what a Super League team does. You don't give a fuck. You take that title. Thank you. Get the fuck out. I mean, we're paying you 20 mil or whatever mil to leave anyway, so we're entitled to pay you. You got a title. You can get another job, and we got and then now we're gonna get. So I still don't understand.
You know, Mourinho's gonna sit on a panel next year in the BBC match of the day and say, "I'm the only guy that won a title for them." Do you know that? You know, he's gonna be petty forever.
Well, somebody sent me this. I'm gonna try to find it because I think I sent it to Martin to tease him. So let me see if I find it because maybe it's in my gallery.
I mean, I don't think Mourinho should be hired by, first of all, by the big teams because he's not gonna keep up with the top 2-3 teams in the league. Number two, he charges way too much money. His fire money is a lot, like you said. Like I don't think teams at the top should not never hire Mourinho.
He's Sean Dyche with
with a name.
with a name. But let me ask you this. So he coached 86 games, right? Coached 86 games
At Spurs?
145. 145. 17 draws, 24 losses. And then 52% ratio. And so what I did hear when they fired him was from the moment he joined Spurs, he's gotten so if you add up his points since he joined Spurs, they would be fourth in the league. Well, he started the season. He started the season at Spurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know about that last stat, but what do you think of 86 games, 45 wins, 17 draws, 24 losses? Is it really that bad?
Also, he would never have that kind of winning if it was a basic team. He got a super team. Those top 5 teams are great, you know.
It's not a super team because they fired the manager before, so they weren't.
I think,
yeah, but you know what I mean. If he was coaching Wigan or Wolverhampton, he would in 86 games he wouldn't won 46. It's because the team is stronger than those middle teams. You know what I mean? Not because he's such a brilliant coach, in my book.
Well, he'll get his shot at a mid-table team soon. All right, so I want to ask you guys this other question.
that'll kill him.
Since so what do you think of Man City winning the League Cup, beating Spurs? It's a formality.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even register as a thing that happened this season.
Yeah,
It's just like one of those things. Okay, so fine. I mean, I guess Aston Villa beat Sheffield on a Saturday. Nobody's gonna even remember this.
Yeah, this was probably the least cup anybody cared about. So Man City won. Everyone's like, okay.
Are you sure 2 Super League teams playing each other for a cup in England? And even though the Super League got dissolved, you get to see what the Super League competition would look like. You with nothing? Nah.
I think the only way this day that game can be made memorable is if Spurs launched the merchandise of the 2020-2021 League Cup finalist, which they have done in the past. They have keychains and rings that they sell for a League Cup that they were the finalist of like about 6 or 7 years back. So they have form for that.
Yeah, they should have done that.
All right, let me ask you two guys this question. What do you think, even though Mowhaaa just ran out, what do you think about the social media blackout that the teams are going to do and for 3 days, I think this weekend coming up to end? What do you think about it? Do you know about it?
Yeah, I know about it. And of course, I know the reasons behind it. But yeah, I guess, another step, maybe it helps. But I mean, I don't see how it helps, but I guess it helps.
That's the thing.
At some level.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Yeah.
I feel like with all the great minds in football, we come up with new ways to defend, new ways to attack, new ways to create formations, and this is what we come up with to combat racism. Like, so all the players from the male and the women leagues are not going to post on social media. Are also the teams themselves not going to post? How does this stop racists from being racist. It's like it doesn't. Like football. Listen, racism is not football's fault. It existed before that. It's the way people are educated in schools, and they don't know enough about each other's races, and then everything is biased towards one race to think that they're greater. So subconsciously or consciously, you're teaching people to be racist because you're not telling them the truth about everybody. And so you're unaware, right? And then people live in segregated communities. So that's not helping. I feel like football itself has done more for women than for minorities. Like there's these leagues now for women, and all of the major teams have their the women's FA Cup, do they have the Women's Champions League and the Women's League and all? Like they put money into it and thought and commercialism to make sure these things succeed and survive. And you're not doing enough to actually, like, it's not, like I said, it's not football's fault, but they can do more. Like you look at, going back to Spurs, they just hired somebody. They fired Mourinho and hired, what is he, 30 years old? A white guy with no experience. You're gonna tell me that was a shot to scour football, find the best qualified black or minority coach, and put him in at Spurs, and it's a great throwaway chance because it's Spurs. Nobody's expecting much from him, and he could have did something.
Yeah.
And it's
I
so
agree.
football has to, like, and it's me and my friend, I want to take credit for all of these ideas, but I'm taking, I thought about because I was talking with my boy Lloyd, and he's in England, he's a Villa fan, and they do put a lot into the female sports, but like in America, in the NFL, you have to interview black coaches for the NFL jobs. They have to make a rule. Like the reason why there's no minority coaches. Just one more thing. The reason why this blackout thing is dumb, because the reason why there were no black coaches or minority coaches that much in football is because it was done on purpose at first. So you have to, on purpose, get some in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
And that's period.
I agree 100% with Ian. Like the social media thing, it's such a small percentage of what could change racism. If you want to change racism, you have to actively pursue the minorities. Give a coach that's Middle Eastern in England. There's so many of them. Black coaches, give them opportunities instead of, you're going to give opportunity to a 30-year coach. Do it like you do in America. They interview in America. You said like sports. They interview the black coaches as well. They have to.
They have to.
I agree with you. You have to progressively get them. And I feel like you can't just black out some windows on Instagram and assume things are gonna change. You know what I mean? Do it in real life.
It's performative activism. It's a new favorite phrase of mine. It's performative activism. So
I think there is a rule that they are. But these are the challenges when it comes to like facing racism, or like the sport doing something about tackling it. There is something called, I think it's called the Rooney Rule in England, where it's named after, I think, a black coach. I might be getting some of these wrong, but I know there's a rule where they're trying to, the thing that you said, that where you have to at least interview coaches, black coaches, I think coaches from other minority groups.
Yeah, that's an NFL room adopted the Rooney Rule 2003. Yeah, NFL.
So I think that the English football has been trying to get it through, but they're facing it's not really something that's getting off the ground, because I've been hearing about it for a couple of years now. So obviously there's like some resistance to it somewhere.
I mean, America went off the ground. If it goes on the ground on American football, and it came from England, what's taking so long over there? They don't want to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to make it work. Like it's all talking. It's like,
okay,
we'll
just
put some armbands. we'll put some armbands on people because say stop racism because some of our players are black and we don't want them to think or from other minority groups. We don't want them to think we don't care, but we're really not going to do anything.
Right.
Okay, so check this out. It's pretty hilarious actually, the way they're
Right.
implementing it. So it says that the EFL, the English Football League, has a policy informally known as the Rudy Rule, that clubs must interview at least one Black, Asian, and minority ethnic candidate for a managerial vacancy. But that is not necessary if they do not have a shortlisting process and interview only one candidate. So if you fire your manager and if you already know who you want as your manager, next manager, then you don't need to go through all of this. And when you give
What's the
people,
point?
and when you give people out, they're gonna, they're gonna take it.
You're gonna tell me there's not one black coach who's better than Sam Allardyce. You're gonna tell me there's not one black coach that's better than Steve Bruce. You're gonna tell me there's not one minority coach that's better than the guy who replaced Chris Wilder at Sheffield. You're gonna tell me there's not one minority coach that like I
Especially
like
in
Scott
England.
Parker in England, like people who grew up with the sport. They've learned from the people who are coaching them. Or like, come on.
I think
Right.
Sol Campbell raised this point because if you see, Sol Campbell is a contemporary with a lot of these guys who are now into management, right? Like Lampard, Gerrard.
He's a Spurs guy. You could have called Sol Campbell.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, come
true.
on.
He
England
played
is
in a
full.
champ. Go ahead.
England is full of minorities, and minorities. What sport are they playing? Oh, football. You telling me in the U team for all these big teams, they couldn't recruit the last 20 years, 10 years, somebody to take Sam Allardyce's job or Newcastle's job? Come on.
That's the thing. It's like you have like the youth programs for the kids to bring them up from their little to bring them, see if they can make it into the first team. But there's a guiding process. You have a scouting process to find a player the style of play that you need to fit your team. You scour the world and you find it. You could do the same thing for coaches, for minority coaches. This is not hard. You're not even trying. You're just pretending to try. And that's what this is.
I mean, the way Neil said it, if you have the rule and you don't have prospects, you don't have to follow the rule. If you give them out, of course they're not going to use the rule.
They're taking it out.
They're taking it out. Americans adopted the system and they're doing it better than you. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing we'll take from English football. The only thing and the only thing England wants to take from American football is the Super League.
Yeah.
So
And the only thing American owners want to take from football in Europe is the American system. Nobody gets regulated. We just make more money.
Exactly. What do you think of speaking of Super Leagues, right? What do you think of Bayern and getting
their own little Super League?
Bayern, let me tell you something. PSG and Bayern looked good last week because they weren't in the Super League. They didn't agree to join. But why join a Super League when you're already playing one for yourself? Like PSG plays in a Super League and Bayern plays in a Super League. Are you going to tell me that? So it's like, why? They're like, why are we joining another Super League? We're already doing that. Like last week I was kind. Hold on one second. Last week I was kind to Bayern, but when you think about it, they play in a league. Like they first buy Leipzig's best defender, then they buy the coach before their coach this year, who's going to win the league, is even done. And it's like and they have the money. This is a Super League for one team to just thrive in, and so is PSG. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Both of your answers. Go ahead, Mowhaaa.
I mean, I agree. Bayern, actually, in Bayern's defense, they didn't jump into that, that top 12 team. They waited till shit was settled. And when the fans was outrageous, thank God, and the shit got canceled, they didn't say a peep. I know they would have joined that venture, but you're right. They don't have to join. They've been stealing the number one competitor, Dortmund's team, every year for the last 20 years. Now they're stealing the next team that's great, Leipzig. So they've been in the Super League, and I'm sure they're making crazy money because they never buy their players the way Barcelona and Real and Chelsea buys the players. They don't buy them by 100 million. They buy them by cheap and develop them and sell them. And I think Bayern was smart to shut up because they knew they were, once the shit was settled, they would have just came in, you know, because everybody, the super teams would have want them in there, you know.
What do you think, Neil, about this move?
I read this really funny tweet. Somebody said that it's like Man City just went and bought Van Dijk and then also got Klopp.
Exactly.
Go take this. Yeah. So, Ahmed, we've known this was been happening. I, for some weird reason, thought that Leipzig is going to be a little different because they also have a fair bit of money pumped into them, and it looked like they're pretty ambitious too. Like you see the way Red Bull operates in a lot of the sporting, the sporting codes where they are, like in Formula One, they're really trying to break the whole Mercedes monopoly, and they're putting in a lot of money to do that. And the way they've actually gone through the grades in the Bundesliga to the fact that they are pretty much accepted as one of the top 2 or 3 clubs in Bundesliga, whereas they were nobodies like 5 or 6 years back. So I've always felt like they do have the ambition to become the next Bayern Munich and create like a top 2 in
not
Bundesliga.
anymore.
It was really weird, yeah.
I think Bayern stops them before they get to that level. Because if they would have got to Dortmund level, maybe they would have done what you said. But I think Bayern's like, let's dismantle this whole team. Let's bribe who we got to bribe. Let's grab their coach. Yeah.
The same thing they did with Dortmund.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's forming a super league. I don't care what anybody says. And the PSG would do the same thing else. If anything's like, oh, what you got going on over there, Monaco? Oh, that guy looks good. What you got going on over there, Lille?
No, but that's where you can't really, of course, Bayern is making use of it, but Bayern didn't create the system.
No, they didn't.
Right?
They didn't. But they have definitely fine-tuned themselves into.
They're more successful at it.
Like it's not Bayern's fault that RB Leipzig's owners are not ambitious enough. They can block all of this, but they don't. Right? They're gonna take that quick money.
But it's also tough. Because you're Bayern. So then if you're what's his name? Upamecano?
Upamecano, yeah.
Right? And Bayern is calling you. You're going to want to go. It's Bayern.
Right.
But then the team has to sell. Because it's your team. And then you're going to, because like the owners of the team can't be like, you're staying and then you're miserable. And then you turn in these shitty performances.
I mean,
the owners will take the money.
I agree. First of all, it's a dream for the players. And then if the owner says, no, we're not going to sell you guys our best player, you know what the Bayern can do? They could just give him money on the side and not play a season and just practice. And they say, if you get fined by your team next season, we pay for the fines. And now you have wasted a whole year having your best players not play any games. Yeah. And then
but I think that's what, I think if you look back 20 years ago, that's what a lot of Chelsea players would have thought. Not maybe 20, 25 years ago about Arsenal and Manchester United. They don't think that anymore. So you need to have strong owners who...
You do.
They're anyways putting in the money. They just need to be strong enough in terms of having that ambition that we are going to be number 1. So if you don't... Because, the moment that happens, it will change. It will. It's just that nobody's even trying.
I don't understand why they're not trying. I mean,
it's hard with these guys. They Bayern and Barca and Man. The money they got is crazy, and then players want to go there. That's another advantage that other big teams have over Leipzig and Dortmund. The players want to go to that team, and if they have to sit down for a whole year, you're not making no money. You're gonna sell them eventually. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pressure for the owners.
Let me ask you this. This is probably our last thing for the day. We didn't do a lot of Premier League stuff per se. We talked football in general, but we're still like 1 week after the Super League stuff and all that stuff, and there's still repercussions. Like I still believe the Super League thing is not over. It's going to come back in some format or the other, or the Champions League is going to adopt some form of it, or maybe not, because the Champions League UEFA just added more games to the Champions League. But speaking of adding more games, the Euros added, teams will be allowed to select 26 player squads instead of the usual 23 for this summer European Championships. What do you guys think of that?
you know what I think happened? I think Gareth Southgate got down on his knees and pleaded so that he can take all of these guys that he's having to make these tough decisions on. Foden, Mount, Grealish. I want Bellingham too. I want my experienced guys, Henderson, Calvin Phillips, Rice. I want all of Madison. I want all of these guys. I need a few extra passes.
So
I think it's great for the young players. They get opportunity. Now there's 3 more spots. Yeah. Great for
based
the
on what
players.
Based on what Neil said, that means Southgate still doesn't have to have a style of play for the British team until the tournament's over and we've lost.
Yeah.
It's like he still doesn't have to decide. It's like,
I mean,
but I think the reason is COVID, right? I'm pretty sure the reason for this is COVID, because there's always a chance you're going to have a few extra medical reasons because of COVID. So you want to have that extra backup.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually good for COVID because of the, in NBA, sometimes teams have like 2 players on the bench because they had COVID, and also as a young players coming up, especially, I know this saves Southgate a little bit because he doesn't have to make the tough decisions, but also it's good for those players, even if they come to the World Cup and sit on a bench, like for, Madison and Grealish, those young talents, Madison, what's his name? The guy from Chelsea.
Madison has taken himself out of the equation.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about? Like the guy from Chelsea, really Mount. Those guys, just to be in the team and to experience World Cup, is just gonna make them better players. You know what I mean? It's gonna build them.
Right.
Three World Cups from now, they could be super midfielders. You know what I mean?
All right. So we kind of dismissed. We said the only thing we talked about the Rooney Rule, and the only thing that American sports has brought to British sports, or vice versa. And you talked about the non what's the relegation system that they wanted to bring that. But another thing America has brought is the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that's a British idea. So we had a Hall of Fame. Well, what do you guys more think of this Hall of Fame for the Premier League?
I think it's great. I mean, there's so many legends when we go back and see the highlights from, like, when Chelsea plays Liverpool, right? And they show highlights from back in the 90s or in the 80s or in the early 2000s.
Go ahead.
I'm saying the players that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame deserve to be in there. But I'm glad that they adopted it, because we need to cherish those legends like Alan Shearer. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Neil? Sorry.
No, it's great. On the back of a week where pretty much it looked like it is done that the entire history of the league is going to be put to one side, and all the important clubs are going to move away. I think it's a good reminder that we are whatever we are seeing right now and today comes from a long line of players who've done their thing in the past. So I think it's a great idea. I think the first two guys who got in are exactly the guys I would have put in: Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. It's good. It was interesting though, because they put out the list of nominees, and a lot of Chelsea fans were a little upset that Petr Cech is not on the list. And then they realized the reason he's not on the list is because they have a cutoff for August 2020. But you should have been retired by August 2020. Okay. And Petr Cech,
he was on the roster.
Yeah, we put him back on the roster this season. So that sounds like he apparently doesn't make the qualification.
He will get there eventually.
Even though he didn't play.
Yeah, he gotta retire long enough to get on this thing.
Yeah.
One thing I just looked up. There is an English Football Hall of Fame. Now this is a Premier League Hall of Fame.
Premier League Hall of Fame, yeah.
So the only thing that bugs me about this is it only counts for British football for the last 30 years, yeah.
30 years now.
Has the Premier League been in existence 30 years? Yeah, I guess since the 90s.
I think 92 or 94, yeah.
So that's a huge segment of first division football, which it used to be called, of people that's left out, and I think they need to fix that. You know what I mean? Like, because there's no Premier League without the first division football before that, and there were some great players in those leagues. And I do like how England does honor people in football. It doesn't matter what your level is. It's like before, you know, I watched the Oscars last night. There was an in memoriam section, and it like before every football game in England, there's an in memoriam, like somebody died. You're like, who's that guy? And then you find out. But I feel like they should extend the Hall of Fame to include people before the Premiership. Like, to me, that is cutting off history and leaving people, you know, giving people the chance to be forgotten, which is not cool. Yeah.
I mean, if they extend, it does make sense. If they extended it, like you said, Ian, then maybe they don't need the American version. They already have one, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only good thing I'll say about this Hall of Fame, that they put more thought into the two first inductees than they did into the formulation of the Super League. Like nobody's arguing about the first two inductees. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no argument. Like
it'd have been hilarious if they'd like just named some two long-standing Premier League players like David James or that Darren Beatty. What's the name?
Beatty,
the guy who played Beatty. Yeah. Like, if just two of these guys, you know, who
what about
just
Bergkamp?
been around. Well, Bergkamp, I think, will get him on as a post. Actually, speaking of Bergkamp, did you guys hear the news about? I don't know, Ian, if you're gonna bring this up, but did you guys hear the news of the hostile takeover of Arsenal that's being planned?
Well, let's talk about that's last. So let's talk about that now. But it's not planned, because I just read something where the Kroenkes are like, we have no intention to sell. We have
Well, they can say that, but if there is a bid, apparently the bid is real. Like, it's not, they're not messing around. They are serious about bidding for this.
But let me ask you a question. Who cares less about the people it employs? Who cares less about the people it pays more than Spotify? Like, there's no musician who their music on Spotify is happy with what they get paid. So then how is Spotify gonna roll up and act like we're gonna do better? You're all about money too.
Yeah, Spotify's all about money. Spotify's doing this for the money.
Yeah, so if Spotify already owned Arsenal, they'd still be in the Super League. Like, these, like, changing things doesn't mean things are better. Like, Man U, we want the guys to sell.
But it
doesn't mean we're gonna get somebody better.
You know, Spotify has Bergkamp and Henry and those guys to help them out.
So it seems like
I bet if Henry said, and Bergkamp said, we're not joining the Super Cup, Spotify would be like, bye-bye, we are joining the Super Cup, you know? I don't think they listen to those guys when it comes to money.
Right.
Well, at least it seems like that the guy is a genuine and has been a genuine Arsenal fan since he was a kid. And so I guess he has that going for him.
He's a genuine billionaire.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about billionaires. You know, Juventus owner. Owner is a fan and a billionaire. You think he cared about not joining the Super League? No, he didn't give a.
Florentino Perez, billionaire.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Real Madrid and Barcelona, I think it was they were actually trying to do it for the benefit of the club, because these Real Madrid and Barcelona are in so much debt that they need the Super League money. Yeah. I think the situation is very different with the.
As a fan, I didn't like it. You know, as a fan of football, I didn't like it. But I understand they were done it for the depth, both of them.
Yeah.
So Mowhaaa, were you mad at Barcelona being in the Super League?
I was, first of all, when I heard about the Super League, I was really annoyed, and I did the research, and I was really mad. You guys are not gonna have the best place in the World Cup. You guys are ruined football. And when I found out Barcelona was in it, I got heartbroken. I was like, are we gonna really join? I thought the fans owned it, and then one of my Barcelona friends told me, the fans have to vote us in to join the Super Cup, and the fans are not gonna vote that in, and it made me feel a little bit better. Because
is Barcelona 51? Was like what they call it 51?
No, 50
No,
plus
No,
one?
but-
No, I don't think
Yeah,
Spanish
no,
football has
but we do have we do vote in our president.
the
and our,
president,
you know,
right?
yeah, we do vote.
So-
We do make votes. I don't know if it would have worked in Super League, but we would. My friend said we would have to vote to go in it.
So with your friend, the socio, what they call him, socio, are they pissed enough to vote the new Barcelona president out because of this?
Yeah, I mean, they were protesting in Barcelona. No fans in the world like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fans in Barcelona did not love it. We hated it.
All right. And what do you think of your chances of winning La Liga? Let me just read this off. So Neil, 33 games have been played by Atletico and Real Madrid. Atletico is at the top of the league. They have 73 points. Real Madrid is second with 71 points. Barcelona also has 71 points, but they've only played 32 games, so they have a game in hand. If they win that game, they could go to the top of La Liga by a point.
Also, we play in Atletico Madrid at home.
Who's your game in hand?
I think we played a Hushka or somebody. Not that, nobody big. But let me explain. I think we're gonna win. I'm very happy after losing to Real Madrid. After losing to Real Madrid, I was kind of devastated, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, from now on, Real, they just have to cruise. Atletico have to cruise, and we're done. But you know what's great? They both keep dropping points. They keep drawing, and now we are getting back in shape. Like I feel like the way we play last 2-3 games has been amazing, or last 2 games at least.
Mhm.
And we have a lighter schedule than them. And I
Mhm.
think Atletico need to beat us. If they draw with us, they're in trouble because we have a game in
Right,
hand.
right. They have to beat you.
So we have everything. We have our fate in our hands. All we have to do is just win.
But if they draw with you, then Real Madrid Real Madrid
right.
wins all their games, and
That's what we're gonna have to win our next.
So
6
you
games.
guys gonna have to go for this.
Yeah, 5 games, and I think we're in the best shape of our 3.
So
So
let me ask you a question. Sorry, go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, Mowhaaa. So is that gonna be the documentary cruise already rolling? Is the last dance by Messi already being shot, or what's going on? Now that it looks like he might actually win.
I think it's being shot, and I think this is
shot?
gonna keep Messi. I think this is gonna keep Messi staying with Barcelona.
No,
I think
that's not how the last dance ends. You're
He
supposed to
leaves.
win, and you're supposed to
Leave. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think there's going to be a different last dance because it's football. He's going to win and stay.
Nets gonna want their money back if he doesn't leave.
Yeah, Messi don't sign no contract. He's going to get paid so much money shooting it. If they want to cancel it after, that's their problem.
Yeah.
I guess I have a. You mean if it's Messi, it's going to be the last tango because that's what they do in Argentina. But why would say you don't win the league, but you won the Copa del Rey, right? Would you keep Koeman? Are you still mad at Koeman?
Yeah, let's get an update on that.
I was so optimistic and happy right before you brought that guy's name up.
Why?
And now the anger is just raging inside of me because Koeman, now I gotta give him credit. Last few months, he has changed the formation. He has played more players. He has given chance to Elias Mariba, the young 18-year-old kid. He's doing good, but I feel like anything can fall apart. And he's that kind of coach. If things are going really down, and he has this confrontation personalities, things will go even more down, especially if we lose Messi. So I don't think he's a healthy coach for us. And I think either way, as a Barcelona fan, first thing I think about is Copa is not enough. Even when we won the Copa in the league, we lost the biggest one, Champions League. So we need to win both. Win or not, he's gonna go. I hope we get Xavi.
Win or not?
Win or not, he gotta go.
Yeah,
we
for
don't
real?
trust him.
But you guys didn't entrust Enrique. What was Enrique's name?
Luis Enrique.
Luis Enrique. You didn't trust him. You guys
No,
were shitty.
The fans loved him. The fans loved him.
Are you sure? I remember watching that whole first season. They were hard on him, bro. And they loved him after he won the treble, right?
He won the treble first year.
Yeah.
But you know what's cool about Luis?
They still didn't trust him after that.
But the fans always love Luis because he's from Barcelona. He played for Barcelona.
Right.
He coached the youth. He coached at Mallorca. He came over. It was amazing. He played the Barcelona style, the La Masia, Tiki Taka. He was great. He won everything, and then he retired because of his diet. The fans loved him, but I feel like it's push and give with this guy, Coleman. If things are going down, he just makes it worse. If it's going great,
But you say that, but things were going down, and he righted the ship, and you guys have a game in hand and can be. You won a Copa. So how is your statement accurate when it was shitty before, and now you're one game in hand away against a shitty team against being at the top of the league?
There's three reasons. One reason is Coleman, but there's also healthier players. We have all the players got healthier. Dembele got healthy and got on fire. We have younger players coming through playing great. We also had Messi and Griezmann's chemistry pick up.
Yeah,
now all that is not. Yeah, and Griezmann is playing on fire lately. Now I'm not going to take all the credit
with
away
no
from
Coutinho either. With no Coutinho.
I'm glad he was injured and gone for the season. But Coleman, he deserves some energy, but it's not because of him.
But he arrived in a mess, right? And I feel like Barcelona fans are so emotional. They didn't even give him a chance to fix the mess. Then they threw more dry wood onto the fire of the mess and put him under more pressure. It just doesn't help. And then now he might win both, and you're like, he gotta go. You don't think he's ultimate?
I mean, I'm not mad if we give him another season, but if I have to pick anybody, I feel like we're still rebuilding. Just give another coach a chance. Yeah, just if we're gonna rebuilding it still, just give another coach a chance, like Xavi or whoever. I think Coleman in the long run is gonna end up the way Mourinho ends up in every club. He's gonna end up in this. That's what I think.
All right, cool. Well, Neil's falling asleep. He's had a long ass day. Neil,
I actually have a light on just behind them. That's like the glare is a little too much.
I think I see it. You're looking clear, but let's.
Yeah, because I'm using the phone. Yeah.
What's any last words for this episode?
I just want to say, if there's anybody who's listening to this, because I know there are quite a few people who comment from India. The situation.
Oh yes. That's what I wanted to ask you. What the fuck is going on in India, bro?
Yeah, it is like, I mean, the worst case scenario is playing out. You know, you remember like those months in America where things were going really bad, and the numbers were really high, both in terms of like COVID cases and deaths. This is that, but that's on steroids, like, because the numbers are higher, and also the inefficiencies. I mean, you know, it's a developing country, right? It's not a country that has the resources of Europe or North America. So like you'll see the numbers online of COVID deaths in India. The crematoriums are full. You know, hospitals are full. The entire country has run out of oxygen, like even the topmost hospitals. Right. So people are not even able to get to the hospitals. How are you going to even record that as a COVID death? So it's really bad. Like my mom and dad, they had and the vaccine rollout was also like, you know, the government messed it up. You'll find a lot of shades with what the previous administration in America was doing. So they had their first vaccine, and then the second dose, they suddenly got a notification saying, you know, oh, we don't have your second dose. You'll have to like check back later, which is not supposed to happen. The whole point of a 2-dose vaccine is when you get the first dose, your second dose is reserved for you. Right. So yeah, it's really bad. Like I actually know people who are very seriously affected with this. Right. So I mean, it's not because of me. Like, it's unavoidable. I don't know a single person in any of my circles who doesn't know somebody who's going through this right now.
So, but let me ask you a question. Like, India felt like if you are on the street during quarantine, they whoop your ass. They made sure.
That was way early in like March of last year. They got slack. They thought for some reason it seemed like the virus isn't really catching fire. So, you know, people started relaxing. Things started opening up. We actually had a few sporting events with fans in. You wouldn't believe that, like 50,000 fans in. And the elections are happening, so there's a lot of political rallies and stuff, and like the numbers of even the smallest of things in India are huge. So
is it because of the vast population?
Yeah, like it's over almost 1.4 billion now. So
damn,
it's it was always gonna be, but the fact that we had such a big head start and never took the action required to at least things like this, right? Running out of oxygen, that should not happen in every hospital in the country.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's really grim. Like it's really grim. Like looking at Indian Twitter, Indian Instagram right now, it's really grim. Like there's not a lot of happiness right now.
I got to get on Indian Twitter, see what's up.
Yeah, we gotta pray for them, man. This is sad.
Yeah. I've been seeing some stuff.
It's usually full of memes. It's usually full of funny memes, but there's been a few rough.
I don't want to laugh. Laugh about that. That was sad.
Yeah. You got any last words, Mowhaaa? You want to say a prayer for India?
Yeah, let's
send them some oxygen. Yeah,
let's pray for India. And I know it's going to be hard to turn this around, but I hope it happens, because every time I see any humans struggling, because I'm from Africa, I know what that is like, so it's sad, and pray to higher powers do something about it,
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And I know India will get through this because they got rid of the British virus when they got the British out of the, and I'm sure the British killed more people than Corona. So India, you're strong, you will survive, and we with you, bro. And that's my last word. Thank you for you two for coming through today. Good discussion, good talk. Like somebody text me or DM me today. He's like, let me see if I can find out. Let me just, because we take all compliments on this show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not ignoring none of them. You know what I mean? So let me see if this guy, Joe Brazino, and he's like, hey, just wanted to say, man, thank you. No bullshit. Thank you for keeping the podcast alive. Love it. Even if I'm a Barcelona fan, I enjoy the crew chopping it up and talking about soccer. So, I'm enjoying the chemistry of like all of us too, and the rotating cast and the different people when we can come on, and people like know our personalities now, and they look forward to whoever's team lost getting shit on by us and just the shit talking. So yeah, it's fun doing it with you guys, and thank you, Aaron Brungardt.
It's been great.
And
thanks for having me, and shout out to Joe.
Yeah. He's gonna be happy with. Yeah, I told him I'm about to record. He DM'd me 5 minutes before this, so then he can listen to a Barca fan. And we'll everybody be good, be safe, and if you can donate anything to India through a legit channel that can actually help people, do it. And let's get our asses out of this hole. All right, y'all. Peace, one love.